I'll never forget, she said, "And if you hear this, run." Yeah. So that's kind of a scary thing to warn me about. Years ago, when I had to do home visits into patients' homes for their medical care, there was one home that I received a warning about before going in there. And didn't really look like this, but gives you an idea of how scary some of the homes can be that we have to walk inside because you never know what you're going to walk into. And she had called me the night before and said, "Hey, you've got to go to this house tomorrow. This is the visit you're scheduled with. And I'm going to tell you now, you're going to be a little creeped out when you walk in there. There's several family members that live there, but they won't come out of their rooms. You're just going to see their elderly grandfather who lives in there. And it's going to be a little unusual, but if you start hearing unusual yells or screams, just get out of there." And I was like, "What? What are you talking about?" She's like, "No, no, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. If you hear anything unusual, just get out of there." What in the world? So, I trusted her. I've followed patients that she had seen before. So, and I worked the night shift, so I usually had to see patients in their home very, very late at night. So I drive out to this patient's home. It's in a very remote, kind of a rough neighborhood. Yeah. And so I was sure to kind of let my family know where I was going. The address was where I was at because you've heard of that, like people delivering food or delivering items and something happened to them at the door. So at least if anything happened to me, they're going to know where to find my body. I'm not kidding. That's real. So I park in front of the home and I should tell you this too. There was another nurse that I talked to too that had gone to this home first and said that he always brings a weapon with him and keeps it in the car because of the neighborhood. And I'm like, what in the world? Okay, well, whatever. So I'm by myself. It's the middle of the night. I'm driving out there, park in the front of the house, locking everything up, making sure I'm not leaving anything out that someone wants to break my window. I'm walking up to this house. It kind of looked like a regular rundown house. I mean, but it's night, so I can't really see everything about it from walking up. And then I knock on the door. The door is already open. The front door is already partway open. So I kind of let myself in. I'm like, "Hey, it's home health's here. I mean, I'm here to help you." And I don't hear anything. So I walk in. And when I say I have never seen a house like this, I can't believe people lived in this house. It's similar to this picture behind me. Broken windows, the roof, the ceiling was all broken, so you could really literally see up through the attic, up into the roof. Spider webs, cobwebs everywhere, and it was really hot outside. They had no air conditioning inside. Dust, dirt, empty cups, bottles. I mean, honestly, that probably was more horrific than anything else. Just like the amount of hoarding and dirt. Like, I don't know if you've ever watched that show, Hoarders, very similar to that. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to call Adult Protective Services. Like, how have we not called them yet? Have we had the social worker out here yet? Because we're leaving patients in these conditions. Yeah, no, I'm not going to let that happen. So, I'm kind of going through the front room there and I go down the hallway, pitch black, can't see a thing, but I see like a sliver of light coming through the one door. So I kind of look in there. Okay, I see the hospital bed because we would provide those. That's where my patient was. And supposedly several other family members lived there. Didn't hear a peep, didn't hear anyone else coming out. But again, it was the middle of the night. And so nothing weird with the patient. I took care of him and I did let him know, like, look, I'm going to call social services to have them come out and see if we can provide some home care, get you help with cleaning up the space because this is just not a safe environment. So, yeah, tried to take care of that part. But I could hear as I came out of that room, I heard, I don't know if it was yelling or moaning. I don't know. And I'm going to tell you, I don't think it was a ghost or anything like that. But good God, I don't know if that person was going to come out of their room like upset, moaning, yelling, because sometimes family members, when you see them in their home, they'll get upset for whatever reason. Maybe they have a mental condition or whatever. But I started hearing that kind of shuffling, moaning, something coming from the other room. I shot out of there. Thank God I was done with the patient. But that brings me to these true stories that these nurses have talked about that I can completely relate to them. So if you're in healthcare, I know you can relate to this. Okay. So this other home health nurse recounted that she was in her elderly patient's home when she heard a clear, stern voice say, "Leave now." I mean, right? So here she's preparing the medications for the patient in the kitchen, and she just kind of hears this. Yet her patient was asleep in the other room and didn't have any other family members there either. And so nobody else was around. Nobody was present in the kitchen. And get this, the house was known among all the other healthcare workers for having a history of unexplained events, including objects moving, whispers heard, voices heard by the other staff members. Yeah. So that nurse said she finished up all her tasks, gave her meds, and just got out of there. But she declined to visit the home any further. My patient that was in that home, I think I only had to see them like one more time after that. But even if I heard someone in the background telling me, "Get out," I wouldn't have run out of there until I was done. I mean, I've encountered stranger things than that. But my advice to you, though, is if you don't have to be there taking care of a patient and you hear, "Get out," yeah, I would run. I would run if I were you. Don't trip on anything, but maybe get out of there. So, this one was from a hospice caregiver. She shared her story about she was working in this patient's home. She heard what sounded like a really angry whisper say, "Go away," like really angry, while she was all alone in this hallway checking medical supplies, like, do I need to order anything? What's the stock here? And she said it wasn't the patient because that patient was nonverbal and they were also bedridden. And the house, she said, was otherwise empty. There was no other caregivers. There was no family there. And that's why they were visiting frequently. She did say the atmosphere felt oppressive. Yeah, I can relate to that. I have that video I talk about when I walked in that patient's home and it just felt so heavy and sad and oppressive. Yeah, that's not going to make me run out though. No. But other staff told her they heard whispers. They felt unwelcome in that same home. Yeah, this was discussed among them as a group, but they still had to go visit that patient. And that's the thing with healthcare workers. Like when we sign up, we know there's a lot of risks that come with the job. I don't think we should be allowed to be physically attacked, but we do see a lot of paranormal things and we witness it, but we still have to do a job because there is a person there that is frail and needs help, and we're not going to leave them alone, right? Yeah. But I might call the chaplain, especially when I worked for a hospice. We always had like a chaplain and we had someone from the religious community. Yeah, I'd probably call them to come out like, "Hey, do you want to meet me the next time I have to go out there?" Because that would be great. So then a lot of you probably know about this. There's a book out there where there's a healthcare worker that put out like all these scary stories. So this one was the paramedic that was responded to go out to a very rural home, just kind of like this one. And he said it was really quiet, really eerie, and it seemingly was unoccupied, despite the call originating from that address, like, "You need to kind of come out here and help us." So this paramedic searched the house for a patient when they heard, "Get out of here." I'm not saying it's scary enough, but basically hearing that coming from an upstairs room. No one was found in the house, and the call was later they deemed it a false alarm, like some kind of crank call. Yeah, that was wild. The paramedic learned from the neighbors and the locals that house had been abandoned for years and was rumored to be haunted due to tragic deaths that occurred in that home decades earlier. But he said he received a call from that house, "I need help, come out here." That's wild. Yeah. So if you ever walk into a creepy place and you're not the healthcare worker, you're not the doctor, you're not the nurse, and you have an option to get out of here and you hear "Get out," yeah, I would get out. Yeah, you don't want that thing following you home. Okay, if you like this video, give it a like, and I'll see you on the next one.